Welcome back to the second hour of our study. We're continuing our look at Christian marriage, and this hour we're going to look at some examples of how men and women see the world differently and apply the principles of the spiritual resources that we have been given in our new birth so that we might see how they work. Therefore, this will be an interactive hour. People being able to notice and then address these particular issues. So let's begin with a moment of silent prayer, the opportunity to utilize 1 John 1:9 to confess any known sins and be ready for the study of God's teaching. Ready? Let's go. Father, as we study these things this hour, we ask for the Holy Spirit's insight so that we might become more practical in our understanding of things that go on around us and within us, so that we might be better able to focus on the solutions that you have provided us in our spiritual life, so that we may be a witness to those we are married to and a witness to those that are around us, both angelic and human, so that they might understand the superiority of the spiritual life resources that you have given us as your children. We thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. These next few examples come from Men, Women, and Relationships from, there we go. Men, Women, and Relationships by John Gray. Again, not a Christian book, but there are a great many biblical insights in his writings. So this chapter is entitled How Men and Women See the World Differently. Men and women see the world as if each sex was wearing different glasses. Where have you heard that before? In a generalized way, men see the world from a focused perspective, while women see the world from a more expanded perspective. Both perceptions are equally accurate. So men see from a focused perspective, women from an expanded perspective. Masculine awareness tends to relate one thing to another in a sequential way, gradually building a complete picture. A waffle, right? A waffle. It is a perspective that relates one part to another part in terms of producing a whole. Feminine awareness is expanded. It intuitively takes in the whole picture and gradually discovers the parts within, the glob of spaghetti. And it explores how the parts are all related to the whole. It places more emphasis on context rather than content. So women, expanded perspective, context rather than content. This difference in orientation greatly affects values, priorities, instincts, and interests. Because feminine open awareness perceives how we are interrelated, women naturally take a greater interest in love relationships, communication, sharing, cooperation. Intuition, harmony. Likewise, because masculine-focused awareness perceives how parts make up a whole, men have a greater interest in producing results, achieving goals, power, competition, work, logic, and efficiency. Focused and open awareness. Focus awareness can be conceived of in terms of a spiral moving toward a center point. You could imagine an archer with his arrow pointed at the center of a target. Open or expanded awareness can be visualized as a spiral moving out from a point. To grasp open awareness, picture a satellite dish receiving from all directions and reflecting in all directions. Open awareness is like a floodlight, while focused awareness is like a laser. Each has its own unique values. let's look at some everyday examples of how men are focused and women are open. Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. As her awareness expands out into the future, a woman is naturally concerned for what potentially could happen. She is motivated to prepare for the future. On the other hand, focused awareness makes men more concerned with efficiently achieving their goals. While men are worried about getting to their destinations, the women are more concerned about what will happen when they get there. Okay? While men are worried about getting to their destinations, the women are more concerned about what will happen when they get there. We experienced that here, golly, how many years ago now? 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, when we were going up to the University of Cincinnati to watch Sarah play basketball. Virginia Tech was playing at UC, and so we were going up there. Well, we left plenty early, and I drove, and I made a beeline, and I pulled into the parking lot 3 hours early, and I said, okay, we're here. Now, what do you want to do? She said, well, we ought to go eat. See, she was thinking about what we were going to do when we got there. My focus was getting us there. I got us to the parking lot, and so now I was happy. I had accomplished my feat. I was a man. I had made it to the parking lot. Okay? So then it was her turn to take over, and what do we do now that we're here? Because I hadn't thought about any of that. I wasn't concerned about any of those things. I was driving to get to a location. Okay? This can be noticed quite clearly through observing Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. While the Boy Scouts are busy figuring out how to get from point A to point B, the Girl Scouts are already preparing what they are going to eat when they get to point B. When the Boy Scout gets to point B, one turns to the other and inquires, who brought the food? In response, he hears, I don't know. I forgot. I thought you were going to. They were unprepared, oblivious of what they were going to do once they got there, because they were so focused on getting to the goal. Because they are born without an abundance of expanded awareness, Boy Scouts repeat daily as their motto, be prepared. It is even sewn into their uniforms. To mature properly, little boys are trained to be prepared. Little girls, on the other hand, need not be trained in this attitude. Their open and expanded awareness makes them already preoccupied with being prepared. Like a radar, their expanded awareness alerts them to all the possible things that could go wrong. Except before they get married. For some reason, they have no concept of what could possibly go wrong by marrying the husband that they are about to marry. In preparing to such an extent, however, the Girl Scouts tend to be late on arriving. Or they may feel the journey is too risky and let their fears hold them back. It is much easier to be courageous when you are unaware of the possible consequences of an action. Wallets and purses. Contrasts in how men and women confront the world are most visually apparent when we compare a woman's purse with a man's wallet. Women carry large, heavy bags with beautiful decorations and shiny colors, while men carry lightweight, plain black or brown wallets that are designed to carry only the bare essentials, driver's license, major credit cards, and paper money. One can never be too sure what one will find when looking into a woman's purse. Even she may not know. But one thing is for sure, she will be carrying everything she could possibly need, along with whatever others may need too. When looking in a woman's purse, the first thing you find is a collection of other littler purses and containers. It's as though she carries her own private drugstore and office combined. You may find a wallet, a coin purse, a makeup kit, a mirror, an organizer, and a calendar, a checkbook, a small calculator, another smaller makeup kit with a little mirror, a hairbrush and comb, an address book, an older address book for really old friends, an eyeglass container, sunglasses in another container, a package of tissue, several partially used tissues, tampons, a condom package or diaphragm, a set of keys, an extra set of keys, her husband's keys, a toothbrush, toothpaste, breath spray, plain floss, flavored floss, her children like mint, a little container of aspirin, another container of vitamins and pills, 2 or 3 nail files, 4 or 5 pens and pencils, several little pads of paper, a roll of film in its container, and an empty film container, a package of business cards from friends and experts in all fields, a miniature picture album of her loved ones, lip balm, tea bags, another package of pain relief pills, an envelope filled with receipts, various letters and cards from loved ones, stamps, a small package of bills to be paid, and a host of other miscellaneous items like paper clips, rubber bands, safety pins, barrettes, bobby pins, fingernail clippers, stationery and matching envelopes, gum, trail mix, assorted discount coupons, breath mints, and bits of garbage to be thrown away next spring. In short, she has everything she could need and carries it with her wherever she goes. I have patients like that who have, their purses are this big and weigh 40 pounds, and they have everything in there they could possibly ever need.
That would be a great starter kit list to work with. You know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, actually, it's kind of a pretty good start on a survival bug-out bag or something. Okay, to a woman, her purse is her security blanket, a trusted friend, an important part of herself. You can tell how expanded a woman's awareness is by the size of her purse. She is prepared for every emergency wherever she may find herself. Ironically, when she is being escorted to a grand ball, she will leave this purse at home and bring a little shiny purse with the bare essentials. In this case, she feels that this night is for her. She is being taken care of by her man, and she doesn't have to feel responsible for anybody. She feels so special and so supported that she doesn't need the security of her purse. Seems like women wouldn't forget where their purses are if they mean that much to them. Entering a room. Men and women will tend to enter a room differently. A man will walk into the room, pick a spot, move to it, and then look out to one thing, then another, and yet another, until he gradually builds a picture of his environment. This may happen in just a few moments. His innate tendency will be to first focus and then expand and open. A woman, in contrast, will walk into the same room and in a quick glance notice lots of things almost simultaneously. In a sense, she will take in the entire room before she is concerned about where her spot will be. She will notice the color of the walls, interesting people or pictures, friends or family members, how the room is set up, etc. Then, when she has a picture of the whole environment, she will find a spot in which to settle. A more dramatic example is the behavior of men and women at an exposition or convention. You can observe the masculine focus as he very pointedly and purposefully moves from one display booth to another. A woman, on the other hand, seems to spontaneously flow through the convention as if taking everything in. For her, it is a process of exploration and discovery, while for the man, it is a process of achievement and accomplishment. He is focused on experiencing what he considers the most important or relevant booths. She is having a good time, eager to take everything in, and for that matter, eager to take things home with her. It is the feminine nature to shop and collect. Shopping without a particular focus or deadline is very relaxing for women, but tends to be very draining for men. Conversely, men are energized if they maintain a sense of focus and purpose as they shop. With this perspective, let's observe how men and women behave differently in shopping malls and grocery stores. Shopping. When a man is focused, he is energized. A woman, on the other hand, can burn out very quickly if she is too focused, especially when she is in a very busy, expanded environment. Likewise, a man burns out or tires when he is too open and is not focused. For this reason, women generally enjoy shopping more than men. A woman becomes more centered through shopping because there are so many things to take into her awareness. This taking in the environment fulfills her need to expand and relate. As she experiences all the various items in the shopping arena, her awareness expands and yet is constantly related back to her self and loved ones. She sees a dress and her awareness soars, reflecting on the romantic occasions when she could wear it. She imagines herself in it. She tries it on. She enjoys its beauty, puts it away, and has had a fulfilling experience. Been through that. Don't know if anybody else has been through that experience, but we used to go shopping back in the days when we had time to actually go to the mall every week. And my wife would go into a store and she would pick up a dress, and she'd say, this is back when she wore dresses more, and she'd pick up the dress and she'd say, I really like that. I wish they had it in my size. And I'm going, why are you looking at dresses that are not in your size? All you're doing is setting yourself up for frustration and disappointment because you'll like something that is not your size and you can't buy it. I know, but I really like it. It really is pretty. I wish they had it in my size. Hangs it back up. So I wander off because I can't be focused on women's dresses. It's too draining. Okay? So I have to wander off and find something else to focus on. So then we meet up again, and she's got 4 dresses in her arms. And we're walking through the store, and so then I'm off again, and then I come back and I meet her at the checkout, and she has no dresses. None. So what happened to the dresses? She said, oh, I'm not really going to get them. And I go, what were we doing here? Weren't we here to shop? See, because shop for a man means buy. Okay? Shop for a woman means look. Right? So she wouldn't buy anything. I'd say, I sure wish you'd buy something, because I felt like it was my fault that we weren't buying anything for her because, is she saying, I don't make enough money, we can't afford it? Is she saying that, what's wrong with me? Why isn't she buying anything? Why am I failing her in some way? I didn't take her to the right store. They don't have the kind of dresses she likes. Okay? See, I'm a big failure because she didn't buy anything. Okay? She was quite happy. She loved all that experience, and she got to hold the dresses and think about them and everything, and then she put them back and she's ready to go. The experience was rewarding enough without having to take something home. Now, I can go shopping, and I would go shopping, and my daughter said, Papa, I love going shopping with you. And I said, why is that? And she said, because you go straight in. If you're looking for a sport coat, a shirt, and a tie, and a pair of slacks, you go straight to the sport coats. You find your size. You pick out one of the sport coats in your size that you like. You take it over to the slacks, and you find a pair of slacks that goes with the sport coat in your size. And then you go over and you find a shirt that goes with the sport coat and the slacks, and a tie that goes with the sport coat and slacks, and it takes 8 minutes. Okay. You're done. 8 minutes. You got. Yeah, she did. Yeah. She said, I mean, you can shop in 8 minutes. Nana takes 8 hours, and she doesn't walk out of the store with anything. Right? So she didn't call her Nana back then, because it was Mom back then. So a whole difference in the way of shopping. 30 minutes of unfocused shopping is the maximum a man can take before he begins to tire. For women, a few hours of unpressured shopping can be relaxing, centering, and rejuvenating. Retail therapy is what it's called. And to the man, I'm going crazy. What are we here for? What did we come to buy? I want to be focused, Huh? Bottom line. Let's get it. Okay? Acknowledgement of this difference is steadily growing. Notice that in most women's stores, there are now chairs strategically placed for the husband or boyfriend to sit in. Another shopping difference can be observed in grocery stores. Women are busy saving money by using discount coupons and buying what is on sale. Men certainly enjoy the conquest of a good deal, but in general they are more concerned with making money rather than saving it. Men are more concerned with getting to a goal, while women are more concerned with responsibly possessing what has been obtained. That is why a man is not instinctively motivated to carry a packet of discount coupons. When he grocery shops, his goal is to buy food. When he is at work, his goal is to make money. Right? Compartmentalized, we are waffles. Phone conversations and car trips. This is probably a little outdated because this was written before the popularity of cell phones. Men don't like to be talked to while they are busy talking to someone else on the phone. Women are generally bewildered when a man resists being interrupted while talking on the phone. It is difficult for a woman to understand why he becomes so frustrated or irritable. She fails to realize that he does not easily keep track of two things at once. Yep. Yeah. My grandson has discovered something that's even more disturbing. When I am ordering at the drive-thru for him, he will say the thing at the same time I'm saying it. I say, quarter pounder with cheese, and he's saying quarter pounder with cheese, mustard and ketchup, all that time. I can't do it. I have to stop, turn around and say, be quiet, don't say anything. And then I turn around to order again, he does the same thing, double quarter pounder with cheese. It just to irritate me with that. I can't focus on talking. It's kind of like that phone app that Shauna had at the party where you're hearing and trying to say at the same time. Doesn't work out well. Masculine energy wants to concentrate on one thing at a time. The interruption destroys his focus. Conversely, a woman who is able to talk on the phone, keep dinner from boiling over, comfort a child, and understand what the man is saying to her all at the same time. It's a miracle of nature. Her expanded awareness allows her to keep track of many things at once. The way men cook is different than the way women cook. Yesterday morning, I fixed breakfast for the boys. Said, we want pancake. Okay, good. Get the pancakes out, stick them in the microwave. I'm cooking the pancakes in the microwave, and I say, do you want eggs? Yes. Okay. Now I go to the refrigerator, get the eggs out. The microwave is cooking the pancakes long before the eggs are ever going to be done. So then I break the eggs, put them in the pan, put the butter in the pan, put the eggs in the pan. I'm fixing the eggs. I get the eggs all done. Okay? Now I can go back to the microwave and start the pancakes again. Okay? Start over on the pancakes because they've gotten cold already because I had to fix the eggs. So then I get the eggs done. I get the pancakes done. And I bring them to the table and I say, I wonder where the syrup is. Okay? So then I have to go look for the syrup. And another thing that happens, women like to reorganize pantries. Okay? So the syrup that used to be here isn't there anymore. We're out of syrup. No, I know we can't be out of syrup. I'll just have to look. So I'm looking all over for syrup. I finally find the syrup.
Did John know where it was at?
I didn't.
Knows where it's
Oh, I didn't ask him. And because this was my job. Okay? Yeah. So I found the syrup and I gave him the syrup. And then Chandler said, may I have the pepper? Oh, pepper. Okay, let me get the pepper. All right. But everything was compartmentalized. I had a serial cooking. Cereal, S-E-R-I-A-L, cereal. It's one thing after the other, where that's not the way women cook. Women have got the eggs going. They got the microwave going for the pancakes. They go get the syrup and they have the butter and everything is all done at the same time. And we're not that way. Okay, back to another one. Of course, a man could allow his awareness to expand and do many things at once, but his general instinct is to focus on one thing at a time. Now, something that I've done over and over again, like make fudge, I can do it like a woman. Okay? Driving the car is another situation that brings up these differences. Never try having an intimate conversation with a man while he is driving. He is so focused on getting to his goal in the most efficient way possible that it is difficult to keep his attention. Because his female partner doesn't readily relate to his focused awareness, she misinterprets his not listening to mean that he doesn't care. As a result, for many couples, driving in the car can become a very tense experience. This little misunderstanding creates a resentment that causes conversations to turn into arguments and vacations into disasters. Or trips to McDonald's to buy breakfast. Okay. These are simple, everyday illustrations of the masculine tendency toward focused awareness and the feminine inclination toward wide open awareness. As simple as these examples are, they can provide the basis for resolving many of the difficulties in communications that occur between men and women. Getting his attention. If a woman knows a man usually operates better when he focuses on one thing at a time, she can avoid conflicts by not distracting him. Or if she needs his attention, this information can allow her to interrupt in a way that works. For instance, she can acknowledge the interruption and ask for his attention, which allows him time to change his focus. Instead of just beginning to talk, she might say something like this: "Honey, I know you're busy, but I need some help right now. Would you take a minute?" This gives him a choice and a chance to switch his attention fully to her. With this understanding, she knows that if a man is not giving her his full focused attention, it is not because he doesn't care, but because his attention is already focused somewhere else. For example, Okay. For example, if a man is watching the news, it is unrealistic to seek his full attention while the TV is on. Instead, you could ask, when would be a good time to talk? If he says, we can talk now, and doesn't turn off the TV to listen, then he is also unaware of his limitation. He may honestly believe that he can watch TV and give you his full attention. Don't be fooled and then resent him later for not fully listening. Okay, bad example. I turn off and on the radio in the car numerous times as we're driving down the road. Okay? I turn on the radio. The radio's been off for 20 minutes. Okay? Not a word has been spoken. Okay, turn the radio on. Turn the radio on. As soon as I turn the radio on, somebody in the car starts talking to me. Okay?
Is this music or talk radio?
It doesn't matter what it is. No. Okay? So I turn the radio off. She stops talking. So I think, okay, that conversation is over. Time to turn the radio back on. I turn the radio back on. She starts talking again. Yes. Yes. It's like you think you're going to listen to the radio, but you're not, because I'm going to talk to you. Okay?
And then we perceive that when you turn the radio back up, you're signaling that the conversation is over.
Well, I wait, because I'm a sensitive individual. I wait until I make sure the conversation is over, and then I turn the radio back on. And then the conversation isn't over. It starts up again. I turn the radio off.
See, probably when she's a spaghetti. She hears a line in the song, or she hears something in
Yeah.
the conversation.
You're probably right there, yeah.
And spurs the thought of something else, and she can go
Right on.
You got it, girl.
"Look at me, I wanted to
Right
tell you
on
this
cue,
the other
girl.
day."
Yep. She know what she's talking about right there. Okay, so now now we'll have insight into that, and I won't be so irritable when it happens the next time.
If you want a quiet ride, just keep every radio off altogether, and she probably won't be spurred to say anything.
Or learn Spanish and listen to a Spanish station.
Okay. Will that work? Okay. Here's the other one that comes to mind. When she's drumming her fingers on her chin, you know that you're about to say something that could get you into trouble. Okay, good. I come in and she's watching television. And it's a very, very intense moment on the television, what's going on, you know. And so this is not me, because if I haven't seen a show from the beginning, I'm not interested. Because I don't jump into the middle of things, okay? That's not my way. But I'm sitting down with my wife, and I'm sharing a TV experience with her, and I get interested in the show, and she says, yeah, before this happened, this is what... Wait a minute, I'm watching it now. Don't tell me about a half hour ago when I'm watching it now, because then you'll have to tell me a half hour from now what I just missed. Because I couldn't listen to it because I was listening to you tell me a half hour ago. Okay? Don't talk. Wait till the commercial, and then you can tell me.
The DVR machine.
Yeah, because you can pause it. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, but that's another one. When a man is focused, and if a woman talks, it breaks the focus, and the man's, he loses everything. I missed what they said. Okay? Stress and the emotionally absent man. Under stress, focused awareness becomes more focused, while open awareness becomes even more open. How in the world can that happen? If you're under stress, you've got to zero in on what the problem is, right? You've got to focus in. So it's totally foreign for a man to have open awareness open up more. Okay. This simple difference can give rise to a host of misunderstandings. For example, when a man is under stress at work, it becomes difficult for him to release his focus. His mind fixates on a particular problem, and it is hard for him to think about anything else. He comes home, but his mind is still at work. When approached, he seems distracted and is thus inattentive and emotionally absent. The more stress a man has at work, the more detached he may be at home. When spoken to, he may pick up a magazine and begin to read it. This is not a conscious insult, nor does it mean that he is not interested in you. He is unconsciously picking up the magazine to distract him from listening to you, because most of his mind is still focused on the problems of work. It can help if you politely ask for his full attention. If he gets distracted, pause until he notices that you are waiting for his complete attention. For his part, a man can begin to realize that he is not giving a woman what she needs when he listens to her with a distracted mind. The deliberate decision to give her his full attention and remove all distractions will assist him in shifting his focus from work to his partner. Without a conscious decision to remain focused and give her the attention she needs and deserves, he will be easily distracted. I suggest that men get in the habit of putting down the newspaper or magazine, not just in their lap, but completely out of their hands when listening. If there is a TV on, it is best to turn it off until the exchange is complete. These little physical actions increase your ability to turn off work and shift your focus to the family relationship. If you have children, it is important that they too need to be heard. Misinterpreting a woman's overwhelm. Because women have open awareness, they are more easily overwhelmed by the needs of others. Just as a man becomes absorbed in one problem, a woman becomes overwrought by a multitude of problems. New word for my lexicon, overwrought. Honey, you seem a little overwrought today. Okay? One of the ironies of being overwhelmed is that when it happens to a woman, she temporarily loses her ability to prioritize, which leads to more overwhelm. She feels overly responsible, even compelled to do everything, and then feels powerless to do it all. This gives rise to the ancient adage, a woman's work is never done. Without an understanding of this feminine vulnerability, men react to overwhelmed women by becoming frustrated. A man feels that he is being blamed for her unhappiness, or that he is somehow responsible for the upset feelings she is experiencing. Remember what I said earlier? What did I do wrong that she can't buy anything at the store? He defends himself by making her wrong for being so overwhelmed and judging her as making a big deal out of nothing. What are you so upset about? It's just a little thing. Men need to understand that when women are overwhelmed, they are not necessarily trying to accuse or blame. They are just trying to talk about their problems in order to feel better. At times like these, a woman really needs to be heard. Unfortunately, most men don't know this secret. Instead, they try to make their partner feel better by explaining to her that she shouldn't be upset, or they suggest solutions to her problems. This attempt to fix her only makes matters worse. I'll need help with this one. You'll have to point it out to me. Okay? All right. Because I'm having a hard time seeing instances of this when I need to be better about this. Okay? All right. So you'll tell me when I miss this. All right? For example, one afternoon on his way out the door, Tom hurriedly asked Jane, "Would you pick up my dry cleaning? I'm running a little late." Jane responds in an upset and overwhelmed tone by saying, "I can't pick up your dry cleaning. I'm already in a hurry. I have to pick up Mary at school, make 2 bank deposits, return Timmy's library books, buy groceries for tonight's dinner, and try to get home in time to do my exercise program. I just don't know how I can do it all. Our bank account is almost overdrawn and the bills are piling up. There are so many things I have to do. I still need to give you your phone messages." Hearing Jane's upset, Tom gets frustrated. In a rather judgmental and angry voice, he says, "Look, it's no big deal. I'll pick them up myself." This is Tom's instinctive response to solve the problem of her being upset. He thinks that by saying this, he has made everything all right. But it is not. Not only does he feel blamed, but she feels judged. As he walks out the door with a frown on his face, Tom thinks to himself, why does she have to make such a big deal out of saying no? Couldn't she just have said in a pleasant tone instead of giving me a lecture on all that she is doing? Is she trying to make me feel guilty or something? I'm not making her do all those things today. All I did was make a simple request. It's not my fault that she is so overwhelmed. She acts like I'm so lazy and she is so responsible. Just because I don't complain about all my problems, it doesn't mean that I'm doing nothing. In this example, Tom's response, "It's no big deal," made Jane feel worse. He thought he was being non-demanding and thus supportive. Jane, however, assumed that he thought she was wrong for being upset about her day. This made her feel as though Tom didn't care about her distress. She ended up feeling unloved and unsupported. In truth, Tom is upset about Jane being upset, but for different reasons than she imagines. Tom is resentful because he thinks she is making him wrong for asking her to pick up his cleaning. He thinks she is saying his request is unfair and demanding and has caused her to feel overwhelmed. Tom is not upset that she is upset. He is angry because he thinks she is blaming him for the upset. Tom has misunderstood Jane. She is not trying to make Tom responsible. She is just trying to be heard. She is not trying to tell Tom that he is lazy and demanding. His asking her to pick up his cleaning has merely given her an opportunity to express how overwhelmed she is. She unconsciously seeks relief by sharing everything that is overwhelming her. As a result of this misunderstanding, Jane is not only upset about her day, but is even more upset because she thinks Tom doesn't care about her feelings. She also feels bad because Tom who was feeling fine before, is now leaving for work in a frustrated and angry mood. Neither Tom nor Jane feels loved or supported. They do love and desire to support each other, but because they misunderstand each other, they are at odds. Feeling better differently. When they are under too much pressure, men and women help themselves feel better in different ways. Women undergoing stress feel better by talking about their problems and being heard, while men feel better by prioritizing their problems, focusing on one, and then developing a plan of action or a solution. Let's look at an example of how, when a woman attempts to share and feel better, but her partner keeps interrupting with solutions, they both end up frustrated. How he invalidates her. One day, Mary is looking for the form to register her children at the local pool. As she searches, she is also beginning to doubt whether they can afford to pay for pool memberships at this time. Because there is a limit to the number of pool members, if she pays in advance, her children will be assured acceptance. But if she waits, they might miss out. As she looks through the mail, she finds a $1,400 Visa bill. She becomes even more concerned and wonders whether this is the right time to pay for pool membership. By the time Bill arrives home, Mary is rather upset. She says, "We got our Visa bill today. It's $1,400. I just don't know how we are going to pay it." He says, "We'll manage. We've got plenty of time to pay it." He assumes that she will feel better now and that he has offered a solution to the problem. And he mistakenly thinks the only thing bothering her is the $1,400 bill. Then Mary says, "We already owe on our American Express bill and the mortgage is coming up soon." She is continuing her attempt to share her various worries. Bill responds in an annoyed tone. "Don't worry, we still have 10 days. Irritated because she hasn't accepted his solution, he now begins to feel a little attacked. He wonders inside, is she upset with me for spending too much money or for not making enough money? She spends just as much as I do. What Bill doesn't know is that Mary is just airing her feelings about money so she can feel good about buying the kids swimming passes. At this point in their conversation, she is feeling hurt and invalidated by his comment not to worry. Saying "don't worry" is Bill's attempt to help her feel better or to fix her. It is his way to solve the problem and feel better. What he doesn't understand is that this approach only makes matters worse for her. The last thing Mary needs is to be told not to worry. What she hears is that she doesn't have a good reason to be worried and is thus foolish, unworthy of respect, irrational, or inadequate in some way. She feels that he is condescending to her and he doesn't care about her feelings. She needs him to understand her worries, but instead of feeling heard, she feels put off and put down. In spite of her hurt, she continues sharing her financial concerns and says, "You know, we promised the kids that we were going to Disney World this summer." With increasing frustration, Bill says, I know, it'll be fine." Misunderstanding her hurt tone of voice, he thinks, "How dare she accuse me of being a lousy dad? I keep my promises to the kids. Is she saying I'm not a loving father? Is she criticizing me? Why is she bringing all this up?" Bill feels attacked and rejected. What he doesn't know is that Mary thinks he is a great father. She is just concerned about their finances and needs to be heard. Mary, feeling brushed off, continues to share her concerns. "We even owe for Laurie's hospital bill." He says with increasing annoyance, "Look, I told you before that I am getting a bonus this month. Don't make such a big deal out of this." He is annoyed and irritated because he thinks she is accusing him of being irresponsible and undependable. He is taking her upset personally. Mary responds in a mistrusting tone. "What if you don't get a bonus?" He says, "You worry too much." She says, "You promised your parents you would visit home. When are you planning to go?" He barks, "Get off my back, will you?" By this time, Bill feels persecuted and interrogated as if he is the bad guy. He does not feel loved or appreciated. Indignantly, he thinks, "Why is she telling me that I don't keep my promises?" She persists. "Taxes are coming up in 2 months. Have you thought about how we're going to pay them? How much are we going to owe this year? He says defensively, of course I've thought about it. It will work out fine. It always does. He grumbles to himself, does she think I'm an idiot? Of course I've considered my taxes. She says, I hope we can afford a membership at the pool this summer, but I think I lost the registration form. Have you seen it? By this time, Bill is so angry that he doesn't want to talk to her. In a moment of frustration, he says, no, I haven't seen it, but if we are so broke, why are you thinking of new ways to spend money? As a result of this conversation, Mary's feelings are hurt and Bill is unwilling to talk to her. What could have been a very simple conversation turned into tension and conflict. If Bill had understood that Mary needed to talk for a while to feel better, he wouldn't have been in such a hurry to identify and solve her problem. Let's see how they could have had this conversation turn out in a positive way. Does anybody think it's possible? Sure. Okay. Mary says, we got our Visa bill today. It's $1,400. I just don't know how we are going to pay it. Bill nods and says, gee, that's a lot. Inside he thinks, I wonder if this is the problem that is upsetting her. Generally, the first thing she says is a warm-up to what is really bothering her. She probably needs to talk for a while. I'll just practice listening without interrupting.
I don't think that he's thinking that.
No, this is the perfect man, okay?
Yeah, okay.
This is the perfect man. Men, take note of this. In fact, I'm going to take a picture of it with my phone and practice. Okay?
Hey, Doc, back on the one before that, when a woman is preparing her children and breakfast and blah, 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 and a request is made, I think that it's timing, because, I mean, we know this now, because we've been doing this for a long time, but, and like, if I'm getting ready for something, and I'm actually trying to put all my ducks in a row, and I'm doing this, this, and this, if you were to speak to me, then it interrupts my putting all my ducks in a row. And it does feel like, oh, that's one other thing, or I can't possibly process that right now because I'm doing this, this, and this. And the same thing is true if, like, he's getting something, I know that he's doing that, and that I'm not going to interrupt or ask a question or blah, blah, blah. So a lot is the timing. And if somebody, I think on this one even, like, if he walked through the door and I started doing all that and you just came home from work, well, that's not right timing for that anyway. So that's not even addressed in these things.
Mary then says, we already owe on our American Express bill.
Bad timing for that.
And the mortgage is coming up soon. Bill nods again and says, you're right. Inside he thinks, I guess she needs to talk about our finances. Remember, don't interrupt. I'm sure I can support her if I minimize my comments and try to understand how she is feeling. You know, we promised the kids that we were going to Disney World this summer. We even owe for Lori's hospital bill. Bill nods again and says, we owe a lot. She says, what if you don't get a bonus? Bill says, if I don't get my bonus, we are in a big trouble. With each response, Bill remembers to not minimize her worries. If he wasn't being diligent in his support, he could have easily slipped back into the put-down statement like, oh, you worry too much, or a Mr. Fix-It statement like, if I don't get the bonus, then we'll get it next month or the month after. The bills will just have to wait. Fortunately, after much practice in listening, Bill has learned not to interrupt her flow with solutions or invalidating comments. Mary then says, taxes are coming up in 2 months. Have you thought about how we're going to pay them? How much are we going to owe this year? He says, I know it's a lot. In each case, he is prudent in his comments. Bill recognizes that she just needs some time to be upset. He knows that his every comment is helping her to gradually feel better as long as he doesn't try to fix her. She then remarks, I hope we can afford a membership at the pool this summer, but I think I lost the registration form. Have you seen it? No, I haven't seen it around, he says thoughtfully. She then asks, do you think we should buy a membership now or wait? I'm not sure, he says. Maybe we should wait till I get my bonus. That will still give us time to register in advance. Bill is careful not to sound too confident in his response. One part of him actually feels that the swimming passes are a minor expense and can easily be purchased now. But another part, having listened to her concerns, realizes it would be a much better idea to wait. Mary then says, "That makes sense." She gives him a hug. "Thanks for listening to me. I feel like you really understand. I just love you." To himself, Bill thinks, "Wow, it really worked. I did it again." Once you get the hang of it, listening sure makes things easier. In this example, Bill has learned the secret to improving communication, listening. It is a skill that it takes time to learn, just as learning to speak did. Mary, too, needs to learn the art of listening. Otherwise, she can make the same mistake, offending him when he speaks.
He's really just thinking inside, if I just stay quiet just a little longer, if I just stay quiet a little longer, I can make it through. Then she'll stop.
How she offends him. Just as well-intentioned men mistakenly try to fix women, women tend to misguidedly improve men at those times when a man talks about what is bothering him. All it takes is one or two objectionable comments, and he will fall silent. At such times, a woman generally has little idea of how she antagonized him. She doesn't realize that any attempt to help or improve him will be offensive. Let's look at 4 examples. I don't think we're going to have time for all 4, but let's look at Bill and Mary again. Bill is worried because he went into debt while remodeling his home. Now he is trying to figure out how he is going to pay his tax bill. When he comes home, he says in a rather defeated tone, "I don't know how we're going to pay for our taxes this year." Mary responds by saying, "I knew we should have spent less on our remodel." Bill now becomes silent and won't talk anymore. Mary feels bad and has no idea of how she hurt Bill. If Bill was centered and not upset, he probably would not have been bothered by Mary's comment. He would have said, "You're right, we blew it." But because Bill is already upset and feeling defeated, her mentioning the remodel makes him feel as though she is trying to teach him a lesson on being responsible. He is also hurt and offended because he reads additional meanings into her remarks. "I can't believe she would say that," he thinks. "Does she think I'm an idiot? Does she think I don't already know we overspent on the remodel? How dare she imply that I'm irresponsible with money? Everybody overspends on a remodel. What's the big deal? I hate it when she treats me like a child and tries to change me. This is the last time I'll talk to her about my worries. Why can't she just listen and support me? Every chance she gets to criticize me, she takes it." Since men can shut down after just one wrongfully taken comment, let's look at more examples of the innocent way women can hurt a man. Joe and Martha. Joe, frustrated with low sales at the office, comes home silent and withdrawn. Martha asks, "What's the matter, Joe?" Joe says in a depressed tone, "We didn't make our sales quota this month." Martha responds, "Well, every business has its ups and downs. I don't think it would be so bad if we would plan for such times." At this point, Joe stops talking. He feels unsupported and angry. Inside, he thinks, "I didn't ask for her advice. I hate it when she gives me a lecture on how I could be a better businessman. Does she think I'm stupid? I already know every business has its ups and downs." Joe needs Martha to just listen and let him talk. Any unsolicited advice will be offensive. Even advice that attempts to broaden a man's understanding can backfire, as the following scenario demonstrates. Steve and Janet. Steve comes home and is very quiet. He seems tense and irritated. Janet, hoping to soothe him, says, "What's the matter?" He says, "Oh, nothing. I'm just having a hard time with my secretary. Her resistance to my requests is driving me nuts." Janet understands his frustration, but she also understands his secretary's frustration in dealing with Steve. She feels he will be able to handle the situation better if he understands his secretary's point of view. She is right, but this isn't the time to tell him. He needs her to be sympathetic to his side of the problem. Hoping to help, Janet says, "You know, I bet your secretary would respond better to you if you would take some time to listen to her. You rarely talk to her. Tell her what you're really thinking." Immediately, Steve goes quiet. He is first stunned and then angry. He feels betrayed by his wife. How dare she take sides with my secretary? he thinks. My own wife thinks I am the problem. She never thinks I talk enough. I talk with my secretary. That's the problem. She doesn't listen. I was already furious with my secretary. Now I'm furious with my wife, too. In her attempt to help Steve by expanding his understanding, Janet unknowingly turned him off. Let's look at one more example of the type of comment that men find unsupportive. Rick and Sharon. Rick took his wife Sharon out to a nice restaurant. During a 45-minute wait for their table, Rick got increasingly annoyed. Several times he spoke to the maitre d' in an attempt to speed up the process. A number of people who came in later were seated before him. Each time Rick would become more upset, even though he knew the recent arrivals had reservations, and he didn't. Sharon eventually mentioned the unmentionable. Rick was grumbling about how terrible the service was at the restaurant. He said, "I can't believe they're so slow here." Sharon countered, "Do you think we would be waiting this long if we had made reservations?" Rick's response was anger in his eyes and immediate coldness. He mumbled, "No," and then fumed inside. All of his anger at himself for not making reservations, which he had displaced onto the restaurant, was now displaced onto Sharon. Furious at her comment, he thought, "What a stupid thing to say. I can't believe her. If she's so smart, then next time she can take me out to a restaurant. If she wants reservations, let her make them. I'm not going to bother. I hate it when she picks at me. Does she think I don't realize that I forgot to make reservations? She acts as though I'm supposed to remember everything. I don't even want to talk with her." Rick had wanted Sharon to be on his side, not to take this opportunity to improve him. Her comment was intended to reveal to him how he could avoid waiting in the future and to help him be more responsible. Instead, it annoyed him because it stated the obvious. What he needed her to say was, "Yes, they are slow." In each of these examples, the man was looking to feel emotionally supported by his partner and was turned off by any attempt to help, offer advice, or improve him. It is important to note that in each example, the man wasn't asking for advice or help. He was just talking and wanted his partner's passive support. Instead, she tried actively to help him be a better person in some way. This is a mistake that women commonly make, having no idea of how they offend the men in their lives. Men have a feminine side and from time to time need to share their thoughts and emotions to feel better. When this happens, women mistakenly shut their men down, and all it takes is a few such experiences, and he will stop sharing what he needs to share. All right, so we are moving right along with bad examples of whom I am the chief, to paraphrase Paul. Okay, let's close with a word of prayer, and then we'll go into our time of petition and supplication. Father, we're grateful for our study. We're grateful for the things that we were able to see in others. Please help us to see it in ourselves so that we will utilize our spiritual resources to overcome the human frailties that we are beset with. We thank you for everything that we have learned and ask that you bless it in Jesus'